Test, test. Test, test. Alright. Hello everybody, and welcome to Rising Phoenix. Today's race will be at the Circuit Paul Ricard in Le Castellet, France, hosting round 6 of the second season of Rising Phoenix Racing League. So we're just going to wait for everyone to come in, and then we'll get going. Please excuse if I make any mistakes or anything throughout the course of the race. It's my first time, and a little bit nervous, but I'm going to give it my all. And hopefully, if I enjoy this and I'm allowed to, I'll be coming back for either as a co-commentator or as a main commentator in the future. So going through the player list, we have TJ Carlo, T-Funky, PMP Regular, Gypsy George 1980, Racing Maestro, V Parallax, Colin 219, Bazooka Joe, Ryder PG Killer 1, Sanka Yeded, LT Cobalt 08, Blackwell 411, David Ashe, Mayo Man, Has UK, Hyperwars, myself, and then RHG NTX. So we've currently got 17 drivers, so we're just gonna wait, and I'll be quiet until qualifying starts. David Ashe, Mayo Man, Has UK, Hyperwars, myself, and then RHG NTX. So currently. Let me just get the link into the chat. Alright, we just got a couple drivers just joining up. Also, in the chat, please let me know if my voice is too loud or too soft, and I can adjust that on the settings. I have never really done this before, so just sort of learning as I go. Alright, apparently I'm alright, so I'll just keep it the way it is, unless a bunch of people tell me to change it. Alright, so Diglett has joined. That was the final driver, I believe, and everyone is now readying up. So we're going to get underway momentarily. Alright, so today's qualifying, as always, is short qualifying, so it's going to be 18 minutes. That's usually enough time for around 3 runs. Now we're gonna probably see a difference of who goes on the softs and who goes on the mediums to start, or maybe even a hard runner to start, and then we'll see the differing strategies as it plays out in the race. I'm not too sure about how long the tires can go on this track and if a soft to medium would work, but I guess we'll find out who's the nicest to their tires and who can nurse their way home if they end up doing a strategy like that. The hards should last a very long time, so if someone goes maybe soft to hard, that would also be possible. But once again, I'm not too sure. Yep, just waiting for everyone to come out now. Let's see who's the first one out. Alright, so we've got a Haas of Parallax coming out. I believe he is the first driver on track, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm just gonna follow him for a sector or so, and then I'll cut back to him once he starts his hot lap. So he's on the hards, with Diglett on the mediums, David Ashi on the softs, Haz on the mediums, Gypsy on the Haz on the hards, Gypsy on the mediums, and Mayo Man on the softs, just for a few drivers there. So everyone appears to be rushing out at the same time, wanting to get the most runs in, obviously. Let's go on board with Parallax. Alright, so now we should see him turn everything up to the max. The ERS mode. It's very hard to, oh, hold on. I can actually do that. There we go. Change the telemetry. I forgot about that. So now we can see what the driver's doing. So he's in overtake, which is the fastest acceleration mode, I think. And then hot lap would be for top speed, I think. So here he comes through the first couple corners. Into the very tight right-hander, and then the long sweeping additional right-hander before the kink, and then the mega long back straight. And hello to everyone in the chat who has typed. I will be reading the chat as the race goes on, so if there's any questions or anything you want me to, or like if you want me to view somebody specifically, I can always do that. Let me get the lap data up there as well. And then I also suppose I could do what tires people have on. So cars, there's Hyper getting out of the way for the hot lapping Parallax. I believe Maestro is about to start his lap. And here comes Parallax, open up the DRS, hot lap ERS mode, and it's a 132.6 on the hards. And followed by Diglett, who does a 132.8 on the mediums. Next driver, let's see. Oh, it's Colin with a 134.2. Now let's go on board with T-Funky as he completes his hot lap. Or off-board, as I might say. The cinematic camera. So we currently have a hard runner on provisional pole. So very impressive lap by Parallax. He's definitely going to be, as we've seen, I believe I think he joined the last race in Spain, is when he made his first appearance, if I am not mistaken. But yeah, right off the bat, he's done very well. I know, as I say that, he gets pipped by Payne's Dead with a 131.7, and then T-Funky just barely gets him as well on the softs with another 0.7. Only 15 milliseconds separating the two, and a compound difference of tires. So let's see what everyone can do. Let's go to our runner who hasn't set a time yet. Here's Hyper finishing his lap. DRS, and it's going to put him 13th with a 135.1 on the hards. So this track has well, the main overtaking opportunity would be down the straight after or before the little chicane there on the back straight. So people starting on the harder tire, you know, could just pick up a slipstream on the first couple laps and really mess up the people in front while they're stuck battling on the softer tire when they should be trying to push, and it'll wear the tire down, and then they'll have an advantage as the Ferraris are held up in the pits as they're both coming in. So the only cars not to set times are well, PMP is in the pits, and the remaining three are all on outlaps. So I'm gonna go in order. I believe the first one, according to my screen, is Cobalt. So let's see what he does. Hello, Rob. Sorry, I'm just looking at the chat now. Oh, Parallax did start the first race. My apologies. I'm not the smartest lad, so my apologies once again. Ooh, Cobalt with a very unfortunate final exit on the final turn to start his flying lap, but nonetheless, we can see what he can manage. So let's go on board for the entire lap, and I'll be silent so you can hear the engine. Ooh, a whole gaggle of cars here. So much for me being quiet. And oh, TJ Carlo with a 5-place grid penalty after a collision with T-Funky. So that puts him in 15th. And oh, got some drama there on the fast right-hander. Bunch of cars on slower laps, or other cars completing hot laps, all sort of tangling with each other. Probably going to be a few heated words after the session about that. So here comes Cobalt round the final couple turns on the power. He's very low on fuel, but that's what you want for qualifying. And it is... Oh, I think his lap was invalidated. Maybe that's why? Because I could have sworn he was on a... Okay, let's go to someone else. I thought he was on a... Oh, T-Funky's been disqualified from the session. So, horrible start for him. He was on pole, and then an incident happened that I reported before, and apparently he's been disqualified. So horrible start to the weekend for him. Here comes Sanka on a lap. Looks to be maybe a 34, a 33.7. So that's 14th place for Sanka. So I believe Cobalt, his first lap was invalidated, which is why it didn't show up, despite it saying he was on a hot lap. And yeah, he's backing off now. I think he doesn't have enough fuel, and his ERS is almost nil, so he's gonna back off and hopefully get another run in before the session's up, which he should be, or should get. He has 8 minutes left. Man is cruising. Oh, here's Parallax, I believe, on a hot lap, 4/10ths up, according to my telemetry, at the moment, through the second sector split. And here he comes. It's pole. It's currently pole for V Parallax with a 131.692 on the mediums. So once again, some amazing laps from especially the harder tire runners on the mediums compared to the softs, and Bazooka Joe in 9th on the hards for out-qualifying a lot of soft runners, despite the tires being significantly less grippy, as we all know. Oh, and Has UK goes fastest on the softs with the 131.5, as Parallax lets TJ Carlo through. Carlo on a outlap, and let's go on board with Hyper. Mr. Cobalt had to dodge someone, I believe, on a hot lap, and had to go off the track. So that explains it. Oh, this beautiful camera shot here of not sure what number that turn is called, but it's a great shot nonetheless. So let's see if Hyper can improve his time. It looks like he will. Might be P5, a 131.9. Very good effort from Hyper there, puts him up into P5. And here's Diglett exiting the first sector, and oh, goes a little bit wide. But will, I believe, carry on. Oh, but he's in, yeah, I think he may have aborted the lap. Yeah, he's aborted the lap. No ERS, and he's just coasting now. So let's go on board with TJ Carlo, as he is on the mediums, doing a lap. Have a sip of water, always stay hydrated, as I've been told. Excuse me. So less than 5 minutes in the session. I note there's been a yellow flag in sector 1 and 3. So just after Carlo finishes his lap, I'll scroll through and see what's going on. Carlo goes P7, and now let's see if I can... Maybe the incident's been cleared up already. I think it has been. Maybe just someone just slowing down for a faster car. Something not too significant. As Hyper Wars enters the pits. Parallax is on an out lap. Let's see who's on a hot lap. Carlo is in lap. And I believe, oh yeah, David Ashley is on a hot lap for sure. 6/10ths up in the second sector split on his 33.3. which would put him, I believe, P9 if he were to keep this pace. But we'll see. Let's see what Mr. David Ashley can do. P11 with a 32.8 on fresh softs. I believe there will be time for one more run for all of our drivers today. Oh, Colin, with a massive improvement, if the data is right. 8/10 it says. And he goes P11, 32.8. Same as David Ashley, but 39 milliseconds quicker. It's so close in this sport. And here's PMP, I believe, on a hot lap. Ooh, a little bit of wheel spin off the final corner. It's going to compromise his run, and it's P17 for PMP at the moment. And here is, now let's go on board with the only driver to not set a time yet, but will very soon, Cobalt. Ooh, David Ashley's retired from the session. I'm not sure if that was a crash or if he decided he couldn't get another run in. But we'll follow Cobalt as he completes his lap. And Hyper Wars has retired as well. There's I believe that is Parallax right behind Cobalt, also on a lap. So this is going to get a little bit, you know. Oh, he overtakes. Oh, no, he's running out of fuel. I think he's running out of fuel. LT Cobalt's running out of fuel on the line. If that is correct, that's a horrible end to his qualifying here. And bumps into the wall as Parallax goes fastest and then retires because not enough time left to complete into the lap. But on the mediums, to get a 131.3 and out-qualify everyone else at the moment is very impressive. So very good job by Parallax in this session. Let's see, Racing Maestro currently in P3 on the softs. So everyone's best lap time on their tires is on the screen. Oh, and I think Maestro, oh yeah, Maestro was not on a representative lap there, but still P3 at the moment. So very good effort by Racing Maestro. Oh, and Diglett goes pole, provisional pole at the moment, with a 130.9 and slams it into the 100-meter board, probably intending to retire from the session. And he does so. So here is has UK, but 1/10 up in the first sector at the moment. And many drivers are completing their qualifyings as the timer is at nothing now. So everyone just needs to complete their laps, and we'll see what the standings are before any potential grid penalties. I believe TJ Carlo or someone had one. I'm not sure who. It might have been Carlo, but maybe my memory fails me. So here comes Has UK up to the line. It's P2 and into the 130s. Oh, Rob, if you're asking why I'm not racing, um, I was going to, but the official commentator couldn't be here today, so I was asked to fill in, and I've always wanted to commentate at least once, so I took it. But yeah, I think it's going alright so far. And yes, TJ Carlo does have a 5-place grid penalty, so he'll be starting in 14th. Just 6 milliseconds separating the top two. Pretty much nothing. Then another 4/10 or so down to P3, but Parallax was on the mediums, so we got to take that into account. And unfortunately, with 2 disqualifications and a very unfortunate session for Cobalt with the laps he had and what transpired on those laps. And thank you, Rob. Alright, so this is where the action really begins. Waiting for everyone to grid up. We'll have a formation lap, and then we'll get going. Goat Mentator. Yeah, just 6 milliseconds. The same amount from, I believe, Bottas to Hamilton in last year's British Grand Prix. Incredibly close stuff. So it just shows the level of competitiveness we have here in Rising Phoenix. Alright, so I believe, yep, formation lap has begun. So let's just stay on cinematic here, and as everyone starts weaving to warm up the tires, of course. So currently, the frontmost non-soft runner is on the mediums, Parallax in the Haas. So and his race pace is pretty good from what I've seen, and he's pretty consistent. So we'll see what he can do from 3rd spot today. Now the run down to turn 1 isn't. It's like moderately long. So a good start could boost a couple people up, especially in the mid-pack if there's an incident on the run down to the apex. But we'll just have to wait and see. Let me turn on all my telemetry with, I guess I'll do position change to begin and interval gap. So from the first lap you can all see who has had the best and worst start. Diglett just slowing everyone down, we're waiting for everyone to catch up, rather. Making sure he doesn't sit on the grid for too long, which is a very cheeky strategy. And the Ferrari wants to go, but Diglett says you may not pass. Alright, I think everyone is good to go. Did something happen on my oh, little contact on the formation lap there. Alright, so here we go. So 1 light, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good luck everybody, have a good race. Lights out, and away we go for the French Grand Prix. Here we go. Let's keep this angle. We've got the Williams and the Ferrari battling for turn 1. for first place. Oh, a little bit of contact there. There's a couple cars going wide. The Renault losing a little bit of grip. And oh, the Ferrari and the Williams scrapping away, heading into turn 5. But the Williams of Diglett keeps the position. Currently we have RHG with an incredible start, up 7 spots, and Gypsy George with, unfortunately, the worst start, down 12. It's been a miracle for some and a disaster for others. So coming down the back straight, oh, I should probably be on the main fight here. The Ferrari and the Williams nearly side by side going into the chicane, and we're gonna see some slipstream action here. Oh, the Parallax having a little look, showing the nose there into the turn. Oh, we have a flag in sector 3. Let's see. I think it's cleared up. Yeah, the front is extremely close right now still, of course. Oh, Parallax right on the gearbox of the Ferrari of Haas. And Haas about to overtake, or potentially overtake, the Williams. Ooh, and Blackwell has a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. I believe probably contact, and both racing points are in the pits. So a very unfortunate start for them to this race. I want to give everyone some airtime here, so I'm just going to go through the whole field every now and then, just see what everyone's up to. Let's go on board with the Williams, as the Ferrari of Haas has overtaken. Has. And Diglett's going to get him back, most likely, possibly. He does, barely. Very daring move into the very fast right-hander. Fastest corner on the track, I believe. Oh, and David Ashley has a 3-second penalty for multiple infringements. But this battle at the front is still very much alive. And I believe DRS, yep, DRS will be enabled starting this upcoming lap right here. And Haas with the fastest lap as he pulls out and tries to overtake. Side-by-side action. Oh, a little bit of contact. Running a little bit wide. Oh, more contact, more contact. Haas goes off. And Diglett keeps the lead. Might have been a little bit of carbon fiber coming off there as well. And then Parallax is right there to, if anything happens, right there as well. So crazy stuff. Oh, and Diglett's running wide. It's going to open the door for Haas to cut back. Perfect shot here from Parallax, seeing the battle. Oh, and it's nearly 3 wide coming into the chicane. Parallax almost getting to position from Diglett, and just managing to right there. Ooh, David Ashley has a 10-second time penalty for corner cutting. Oh, and the Alpha and the Red Bull of Paynes and Racing Maestro scrapping it out. Oh, RHG almost going right into the back of another car. Thankfully avoiding though. So currently only the 2 racing points have contact between T-Funky and Bazooka Joe. Maybe Bazooka Joe maybe missed the braking point, or T-Funky broke or braked earlier than expected. But that might give a little bit of damage to Bazooka, and massive frustration to both of them. Bazooka was on the harder tires, so struggling to get through, or trying to get through. And oh, leaders, I've been informed. Oh, it's a spin! It's a half spin, and it's a full spin now after being tapped. Thankfully, they ghost, so Hyper Wars doesn't hit right into him. But it's been a disaster for Haz. And oh, as we have a battle for second here, Pain's coming up on Racing Maestro with RHG right in the battle. Oh, a little bit of contact. So, wheel-to-wheel stuff here. Is he gonna stick it out? Ooh, tries to. And they both make it through alive. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Parallax on Maestro. Side by side, third sector. And he gets the move done. Yellow flag in sector 3. Oh, and Maestro and Diglett are in the pits. Oh, some broken wings. For many people, according to my chat. Hyper Wars with a 3-second penalty for, I believe that was corner cutting. I didn't see it fully. Let's see what close battles going on. Oh, we have a spin of Sanka. May have been tapped, but losing some positions and right back into the battle with Colin. Boom, Blackwell, 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. Oh, here we go. Three-way battle between Ryder, Sanka, and Colin here. They go a little bit wide. Colin's ready to make a move. Ooh, as they're side by side. A little bit of scraping, I believe, but everything is okay. With Parallax taking the fastest lap. Oh. No, Parallax has just overtaken Pains. So let's stick with this for a little bit. On the back straight, as there might be another counter overtake. Amazing angle here from the helicopter. So currently, Parallax has more ERS, but Pains has Parallax has more ERS, Pains has more, or has the DRS. So let's see if a move can get done here. A little bit too far back. No, as T-Funky overtakes Mayo Man into the chicane. Diglett and Racing Maestro side by side. With Diglett getting through. Back to the front. And Hyper Wars has a penalty for speeding in the pit lane. It can be very tricky to see where the line is sometimes on some of these tracks. So I've had a few myself, so I don't blame anyone for getting those. And T-Funky right on the gearbox of David. Goes for a lunge, has to take evading action as David takes the racing line. But on the back straight, there should be something happening. Oh, David goes wide, hits the Rolex sign. And that's going to slow him down a little bit, I believe. Racing Maestro with a penalty, but here's T-Funky on David Ashe. Oh, they both go a little bit deep. And Ashe keeps the position. Oh, and Ashe goes wide, opening the door for T-Funky to come on in. Side by side. Oh, I believe Ashe has damage on his left side as he loses a little bit of control there. Does a little bit of a wheel spin moment. So yeah, Ashe is dealing with some damage, which is why I think he was going wide in a couple corners, struggling for the front end grip. So things are sort of just stabilizing right now. The gaps are starting to increase between a lot of cars as pit stops are being made. Speaking of pit stops, let's check. So from 10th down has been a stop, but the top 10 runners currently are all on their starting set of tires. So the closest battle is Carlo right now on RHG. And with DRS, this should be a pretty easy move. Oh. And there we go. So Carlo's up in a third. Up into a podium spot. Bunhaz UK has a penalty for multiple warnings. Sorry. And here's the two Toro Rossos in close proximity. David defending from Ryder. Just trying to conserve ERS at the moment. Ooh! David has a little bit of wheel spin, another wheel spin moment, and is right into box. So let's hop on board with the Haas as they chase down the podium spot. So let's see. So all the medium runners. Currently T-Funky with the best race, and Has with, unfortunately, the worst first 9 laps out of the field in terms of position. TJ Carlo with the fastest lap. Ooh, the two Ferraris are very close, so let's hop on board here. Has chasing down George. Oh, as the current lead Ferrari goes into the pits. So George pits, and Haas is released into clean air. So, it's on lap 10, it's Parallax, Pains, Carlo, RHG, T-Funky for your top 5. But the top 8 have not stopped yet, so we'll see how they all filter out once they come out of the pit stop phase. Now, yeah, it would be very useful to have a tire wear little indicator in the spectator mode. But unfortunately, I don't think there is one. Oh, as the two Renaults are going side by side, with Joe just coming out victorious. And here's David chasing down Haas. Haas on the mediums, David on the hards. And oh, Pains has a 3-second penalty as David goes wide. Still struggling for downforce, I believe. Let's check. Yeah. Oh, no end plate on either side of the front wing. So losing a very big amount of time, and not helping the tire situation easier, or as well. Blacko's been disqualified for parking in a dangerous location, so I'm assuming they pulled over. Maybe after an incident or just something like that. So there's no real close gaps right now, or close battles, so I'm just going to let's see, tires. Oh, Ryder has a penalty. And Pains has a penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Really unfortunate. As Parallax sets the fastest lap. And oh, Gypsy has spun. I believe that's the source of the yellow flag. And has a little bit of damage on the right side of their wing. So it's been a very unfortunate opening laps for both of the Ferraris at the moment. But we'll see what they can do in the remainder of the race. As Gypsy unfortunately cuts the chicane and gets another penalty. As Pains is just on the back of Diglett. So we might be seeing an overtake here on the back straight. Is that just me, or is Diglett's rear right and front right tire different compounds? Probably just a visual glitch. But I swear the back is yellow and the front is red. But here comes Pains. Not close enough. And Blackwell has left the session. Very unfortunate for them. As Pains goes up the inside of Diglett. But unfortunately can't get the move done at the moment. But he's all over the back of him as Diglett goes into the pits and releases Pains into free air. Let's watch the pit stops. Pit stop battle. Well, I believe Ryder has a penalty, so that's why they were waiting. They had a penalty to serve. And now Maestro is right on the back of Paynes. Alright, so we believe, yeah, Carlo should be coming in very shortly, as well as Colin. And as I say that, Carlo comes in. So I believe they'll be going to the hards for the remainder 15 laps, with Colin probably following the same strategy. Oh, as Ryder and Has getting very close. Has with a little bit more, or a significant amount more of usable ERS, but fuel, not sure about. Ooh, yellow flag in sector 1 and 2, but I want to stay with this battle. Let's just quickly look through. I'm not sure. Oh, and Gypsy George retires from the session. So we've had 3 retirements so far. So 16 runners left. With Parallax comfortably leading the way, 8 seconds over Colin, who hasn't stopped yet. Then a further 2 seconds back to Paynes. See, Carlo and Maestro. He tries it. Ooh, very close, but just can't get it done at the moment. Ooh, and David Ashley is retired from the session, with Parallax going fastest once again. Very impressive pace from the Haas driver. We've got a lot of fights here now. With Paynes maybe looking for a move on Colin here into the right-hander. Yes, and gets it done. Yeah, Colin, I believe, struggling on those older mediums now. So they should be coming into pit very soon. Oh, and here comes Bazooka Joe on Hyper Wars. Both got DRS. Maybe a lunge. Unfortunately, not close enough for Bazooka Joe. Let's see what's going on. Oh, back to Bazooka. Overtaking Hyper. Ooh, a little bit wide, but keeps it in. But hangs on, rather. And now we have a very good three-way battle for 6th position. So let's look at the stops. So Colin still hasn't stopped. Might be going to... Oh, yellow flag. I believe incident's been cleared up. But I believe Colin is going to be going onto the softs, probably trying to stretch the mediums out, and then going to the softs for a very fast last stint. Diglett right on the back of Haz. Oh, as Carlo gets past Colin on the turning board there. Ooh, Diglett so close. Let's see their tires. Yeah, so Haz is on older mediums, so that explains the why Diglett is closing up so rapidly. And Diglett is a very good driver as well, so let's not forget about that. And Colin comes into the pits. And ooh, contact between the Williams and Ferrari, and Diglett gets into a half spin and loses the position to Ryder and Sanka. So he's going to be a little bit frustrated, to say the least, about that. As Hyper is right on the back of RHG, and oh, a little bit of a touch there. And another touch. As he tries to go down the inside, cut back. Certainly on the back straight. They're going to be side by side here. Amazing stuff. Hyper on 10 lap old mediums, and oh! Hyper gets into a half spin and spins around 90 degrees. And now T-Funky, his teammate, is right on the back of him. And as Williams and Alfa Romeo are scrapping it out. So let's see what happens here with the slipstream. Diglett goes defensive. And Sanka will have to wait a little bit longer to get the move done. Unless goes for it right here. Not enough room. So close. And here is Bazooka Joe on Racing Maestro for 4th position. Side by side. And Joe has done it. Really good DRS pass there. Textbook stuff. And Carlo with DRS on the Alfa Romeo. And passes, oh, almost passes, and gets past fairly simply, as the nature of DRS. Let's see. Alright, I think that'll all be the same. So I believe Bazooka Joe and Racing Maestro, as well as Hyper and Haz, all have to pit once more. I don't believe the tires will last that long. All the hard runners should be good until the end, I believe. And Colin may be okay on the softs, running 9 laps, I believe, by the end. And Hyper comes into the pits, most likely for the final time. Let's see. Yeah, for the second and final time. Hyper comes in. A little bit wide by Has, but the speed is there, and he's gaining. Pulls out, and ooh, Mayorman fights it. And now Diglett is right in the fight as well. Oh, Diglett has a half spin, probably as a result of contact, and loses 3 positions. Very close here between Senka and Colin and Diglett. Oh, and Diglett goes for the lunge. Makes a little bit of contact with the Red Bull, but makes it through. And Has right on the back of the Renault. Quick drink break. All right. And Payne's almost getting past TJ. Oh, as Has and Mayorman, at least on my screen, come together. And Has gets past. But Mayorman, I believe, will have DRS. And ooh, a little bit of rubbing. And Has gets a penalty for, I believe, just a very slight cut of the chicane there. Penalties can be very brutal around here. It's very easy to do so, as you're always trying to push the limits, and there's no walls to really stop you. So penalties will be aplenty, as we've already seen so far today. Oh, and Diglett gets past Senka. And Colin's right there, ready to overtake. Oh, and Ryder and Mayorman are going side by side. Epic stuff. And oh, Mayorman seems to get past, and oh, Ryder with a spin after contact with the side pod of Mayorman. Horrible stuff for them. Possible slight damage as well, possibly to the Toro Rosso. Alright, that's there, and let's focus on this. So 4 cars all in formation here. Goes defensive. Oh! Carbon fiber off of the Williams. That might have been and another little spin there as the Alpha goes wide. And Diglett has had a really, really horrible couple corners there for the Williams driver. At least he keeps the position from Colin at the moment on much softer tires. As Senka goes wide and gets a penalty. As Paynes gets a 3-second penalty. We're going to see how this shakes everything up at the end of the race, at the line. As Has comes into the pits. Oh, contact. Oh, another hit involving Senka. I don't think there's any damage, thankfully. Doesn't appear to be, but that must have been pretty scary. As Mayorman is looking to pass Diglett on the straight here, and with DRS, it's looking very likely. DRS is very powerful. but he might be a little bit too far back unless he lunges. He decides he thinks twice about it and does not go for the move on this lap. Boy, Mr. Cobalt pits and is probably going for the fastest lap here, as anyone, regardless of position, can get it in this league. It's not just the top 10, just like in real life. Anyone can get it, so everyone can have a go. So currently TJ with the best race, followed by T-Funky, and Has still, very unfortunately, with the worst result compared, the worst result compared to qualifying at the moment. So Cobalt is going for a fast lap here, as Sanka gets another penalty, I believe. And RHG is getting closer to the back of the Red Bull of Maestro. So let's stay on board here. So currently most drivers with a 1 stop, with Diglett, Hyper, and Has on 2 stops, and Cobalt with the 3 stop, trying to go for the fastest lap, of course. So that's understandable. Ryder getting pretty close to Sanka. Getting ever closer to the back of the Red Bull is the Haas. When Cobalt unfortunately has a penalty for ignoring blue flags, probably while trying to go for the fastest lap. As it's very hard to slow down when you're trying to go for that. Ooh, as Ryder very close to Sanka, and RHG not being able to get past Maestro at this time. So let's go back to Ryder, see what he can do with the DRS on lap 24 of 27. And Ryder's using everything here to try to get past, and brakes later and gets past Sanka. A little bit of touch there. And Sanka's going to come back at Ryder here, and as Ryder goes defensive, Sanka goes round the outside. Oh, and Ryder gets hit and spun into the wall and DNFs. Loses the front left tire. Probably a very small tap between the two, but it was just enough at the speeds they were going to knock him right into the wall. And here's Racing Maestro back on RHG. Ooh, contact, and Ryder has left the session in understandable frustration, probably, as RHG is steaming up the inside of Maestro. They're squabbling. Oh, bad camera angles. As RHG gets a penalty for a corner cut. And Maestro's going to come back here with the DRS. Goes. Will Sanka be able to get past Colin here? Now the softs are probably starting to wear down quite a bit I believe 8 or 9 laps is like the maximum you can comfortably go. So Senka might have something here. And oh, back to the battle for 5th. Haas and Red Bull. Red Bull going a bit wide. And the Haas keeping 5th position. Oh, with Haas, going very wide and hitting 2 boards. Not sure what happened there while trying to overtake. I saw it was very close, and then as soon as he cut to it, he was off the track. Unfortunately, a little bit too late. Let's see as they go down the back straight for the penultimate time. Let's see what's going to happen. Oh, as Senka gets past Colin. Very high rate of, or very different speeds there, it seemed, as I cut to it. As T-Funky's getting close to Maestro. Maestro close to RHG. And the order stays the same. But Colin is right on the back of Senka now. So let's see what can be done. Let's just make sure. Oh, as T-Funky and Racing Maestro are going side by side here. I have to cut to this, sorry. As T-Funky gets a penalty. And I believe Colin has not gone past Senka. But this battle is ever on. Oh, dives down the inside, goes a little bit wide. Maestro with the very good cutback there. T-Funky a little bit too aggressive. So close. Let's look at the fastest laps. With Cobalt almost getting it. Just about a 10th off of Parallax's time. As, ooh, so close between the McLaren and the Red Bull. But Funky gets past Maestro at this time. And now we're on to the final lap. So this is where stuff is going to start getting a little bit desperate for the drivers. Everyone's going to be pretty exhausted by now, and people are going to make some maybe some crazy moves if they're close enough. But right now everything seems to be pretty stable as Parallax comes around the final corner just in time to pick him up for the final lap and cross the line. Parallax is your winner of the French Grand Prix for Season 2 of Rising Phoenix. So congrats to Parallax, amazing drive. Very comfortable, it appeared to be. Amazing stuff. And here comes Carlo in P2 and Payne's in P3. Bazooka Joe gets promoted to P3. 23 laps on the mediums. If that's correct, that's incredible from the Renault driver, and that's a very well-deserved podium in that case. So Paynes gets demoted to P4, Funky P5, RHG, Diglett P6 now after penalties, RHG P7, Maestro P8, Mayo Man P9, Colin P10, Senka P11 has P12, and Hyper Wars in P13. Ooh! Going reverse over the line in style, and Cobalt in P14, but nearly with the fastest lap. So yeah, amazing work, everybody. GG's. So yeah, that's that was it for my well, first the podium. Number 14. GG's all around. Yeah, there were a lot of good battles there actually. Um, Obviously some frustrations coming out from some of the drivers. But yeah, our final results are Parallax, TJ, Bazooka, Pains, T-Funky, Diglett, RHG, Racing Maestro, Mayo Man, Colin, Sanka, Haz, Hyper Wars, Cobalt, Ryder, David Ashi, George, PMP, and Blackwell. All the stints that people did, all the tire strategies, and the very long list of warnings and penalties, as the nature of this track is. Let's go through them all, just in case you wanted to see them. Jesus, there's a lot. But yeah, that concludes my commentary, and that concludes the event. So I hope you enjoyed. Please tell me in the group chat or in my the stream chat if I was good or horrible, and I might do this again one day. So yeah, thank you everybody, and I will see you, or the commentator, whoever that may be, either me or someone else, will see you at the next race. Cheers and goodbye.